Instead of actually governing and trying to make lives better for the American people, Donald Trump spent his weekend showing us what a small man that he truly is. Now, of course, it was Super Bowl Day weekend, but because Donald Trump is not interested in being outshined by anything as far as attention goes, he held a press conference from his plane as they flew over the Gulf of Mexico. He then proclaimed that February 9th would henceforth be known as Gulf of America Day. It was truly a lackluster performance by Demented, but I think taking a look at a few of these clips kind of gives us a glimpse into how the old man is thinking about things these days. And just a heads up, it ain't looking good. So let's go ahead and kick things off with this first question, and he's asked about his conversation with Putin. And of course, there is no substantive answer that he gives to the reporter here. But if you do appreciate the work I do, please do remember to subscribe.
Sir, can you tell us about your conversation with Vladimir Putin?
I don't want to do that now. Now we're trying to end that war. It's a war that would have never happened if I were president. Would have never happened. But we're making progress, but I can't tell you.
Now, of course, anytime Donald Trump is asked about his conversations with Putin, he says, "I don't want to say anything. I'm not going to do that. I don't have anything to say." Donald Trump was supposed to end the Ukraine war with Russia on day one. And we haven't heard squat about that ever since he has been inaugurated. Donald Trump is not a master negotiator. He has no plan that would be feasible for the Ukrainians. And anytime he is asked about it, he's like, nah, I'm going to hide that. I'm not going to tell you anything. I don't think Donald Trump knows what the hell he's doing. I think he has dementia. I think Putin is probably walking all over him in any conversation that they might have. And I think Donald Trump is probably lost. I don't think he has a good answer for this question, and he probably will continue to not have a good answer for this question. He then is asked about the judge striking down many of the actions that Elon has been engaged in, trying to overtake the Treasury, hacking into our systems. But listen to how he answers this question, because it really gives the game away in how they are thinking about Donald Trump's actual power.
You suffered a couple of court losses, Mr. President, and J.D. Vance said judges aren't allowed to control the executive power. What's your take on that?
Well, we're going to see what happens. We have a long way to go, and we're talking about fraud, waste, abuse. And when a president can't look for fraud and waste and abuse, we don't have a country anymore. So we're very disappointed with the judges that would make such a ruling. But we have a long way to go. We have to find all of the fraud that's going on. We have tremendous fraud, tremendous waste, and tremendous abuse, and theft, by the way. And the day you're not allowed to look for theft and fraud, etc., then we don't have much of a country. So no judge should frankly be allowed to make that kind of a decision. It's a disgrace.
No judge should be allowed to make that type of decision. Donald Trump just thinks he can go ahead and do whatever it is that he wants to do. But unfortunately for him, that is not how the Constitution is set up. Article 1 specifically gives Congress the power of the purse. And for Donald Trump and Elon Musk to be going into the Treasury and stopping payments and tearing down different agencies, that is not within their power. That is not within their constitutional purview. And for the judge to be striking these things down is the way it should go. But because Donald Trump doesn't want to be accountable to absolutely anybody, this is the type of thinking that we actually get. Even his vice president was out on Twitter saying that the judge should not be allowed to check the president's power. We do not have kings in this country, people. We do not live in a dictatorship. Our rules and our laws and our Constitution is set up to delegate different powers to different branches of government. And we have a check on each other's power, each branch's power, for a reason. If Congress sets up these agencies to distribute funds, whether it be USAID or whatever else, that is how the money is supposed to be spent. The representatives came together and passed laws to establish these agencies. And the president does not have the power to just come by and stop it because he doesn't like it. And you'll notice, anytime he is asked this question, we're going after waste, fraud, and abuse. Waste, fraud, and abuse. He's like a broken record. They have not found any waste, fraud, and abuse. Anything that Elon is toting out as waste, fraud, and abuse has been a conspiracy theory or a misunderstanding of why certain money is given to certain organizations. They have not been able to provide any concrete examples of waste, fraud, and abuse. But this is the line of thinking that they are currently on. And I'm not going to be surprised if they just start ignoring the judge's orders, throwing our country even into a larger constitutional crisis. He is then asked about why are we thinking about expanding to Canada, Greenland, Gaza? How is that America first? And listen to the way that the reporter asks this question. I really dislike the way that the reporter frames it here.
Gulf of America, Canada, Greenland, Gaza, all these are very muscular foreign policy. How does this align with America first?
Because it makes us bigger, stronger, and better, and more protective. We need Greenland because of national security, international security, world peace. And we'll have to do that. Canada, we'll see what happens with Canada, but the people of Canada would be paying less than half of the tax. If you look at the tax, they're going to be paying less than half the tax. They don't pay very much for military, and the reason they don't pay much is they assume that we're going to protect them. That's not an assumption they can make, because why are we protecting another country? Now, I love the people of Canada. We have a great relationship. But if they became our 51st state, be the greatest thing they could ever do. It'd be unbelievable. It would be a cherished state. And think of how beautiful that country would be without that artificial line running right through it. Somebody drew it many years ago with a ruler, just a line. You look at how beautiful that is, wow, it would be very exciting. But if you look at Canada, it would be cherished as a 51st state.
Now, this is just absolutely grotesque, and for the reporter to say, oh, this is very muscular of you. I mean, what are you guys doing? These are terrible, terrible ideas. We are not in the business of trying to take over Canada, Mexico, Greenland, Gaza. America is not into that business, and Trump specifically ran on no more forever wars, no more nation building. But that is exactly what Donald Trump is actually advocating for. Canada is not for sale. Canada is not interested in becoming the 51st state. And to try to say, oh, well, they'll be paying half of taxes, so that'll be pretty good for them. What are you doing, dude? Are they going to give up their health care, too, so they can pay less taxes? I mean, these are just absurd ideas, but Donald Trump seems to be fixated on them. Because it's going to make America bigger, better, stronger. He's literally like an old man sitting in an old folks' home, rambling about the good old days. That is what it sounds like to me. He is out of his damn mind. He is then asked again about this expansionist worldview that he is currently adopting.
Would you agree that it's a more aggressive foreign policy than your first term? And why is that?
It's more aggressive. It's better. Why? Because I think I've had a lot of experience. And in my first term, I was fighting everybody because they were very aggressive toward me. I always said survival and taking care of the country, not necessarily in that order. But I had to take care of the country, but I had a bunch of lunatics like Pelosi and all of these people. They fought me, and we won. And I had a lot of other things that were going on there. This time it's much more, they've lost their confidence. I think they've lost the respect of the American people with, men participating in women's sports, with open borders, with transgender for everybody, for all the things that they're doing is so bad. When you allow people to empty their jails into your country with prisoners, killers, their mental institutions and insane asylums into our country. This is what they're doing. When you allow gang members from Venezuela, but many other countries coming into our country, we're getting them all out now. They've lost their credibility, but they've also lost their confidence. So I have more time to do what I want to do. So we're making our country larger. We're making our country stronger. And in the case of Canada, if this should happen, I don't know how they can do it without us, because without the U.S., Canada really doesn't have a country. They do almost all of their business with us. And if we say we want our cars to be made in Detroit, with a stroke of a pen, I can do that. And other things in addition to that would not allow Canada to be a viable country.
He is literally a broken record. He's asked about all of this aggressive foreign policy ambitions, but then he just goes into the same campaign talking points that we have been hearing for months now. Oh, the transgenders, the illegal immigrants, the murderers coming in from Venezuela. This guy does not know how to throw together a cohesive thought, a coherent thought. All he is talking points. All he is a set of bad ideas that the American people did not sign up for. He was not running on trying to make Canada the 51st state. He wasn't running on trying to take over Mexico or Greenland. This is completely antithetical to what he was actually running on, lowering prices and things like that. Donald Trump is a broken old man, and he is fixated on these terrible ideas that are completely contrary to what MAGA was sold. It is absolutely pathetic. And then I will show you this one last clip. This is what authoritarians do. They try to rewrite history. They try to sell you a different version of history that is not correct. They try to make you believe in something that is not true. This is the story of Donald Trump's life. But listen to when he is asked about the January 6th people. And you're going to visit first responders, but you just pardoned a whole bunch of people who assaulted first responders. Listen to his response.
You are going to meet with first responders today, but you pardoned people who assaulted first responders.
I pardoned people that were assaulted themselves. They were assaulted by our government. I pardoned J6 people who were assaulted by our government. That's who assaulted, and they were treated unfairly. There's never been a group of people in this country, outside of maybe one instance that I can think of, but I won't get into it, that were treated more horribly than the people of J6. So, no, I didn't assault. They didn't assault. They were assaulted. And what I did was a great thing for humanity. They were treated very, very unfairly. There's never been an incident like this.
Absolutely disgusting. This is a great thing for humanity. It was actually the J6ers who were assaulted by the United States of America. What the hell is this dude talking about? January 6thers, a few of them put a cattle prod into Michael Fanone's neck. He had a heart attack and a traumatic brain injury that is going to last the rest of his life. What about Sitnik? He had a few strokes a day or two later and died. More than 140 police officers were beaten to a pulp that day, and you pardoned all of them. And then you're going to go on to try to rewrite history? This is what authoritarians do. They try to sell you a bill of goods that is not correct. They try to rewrite history into a version that is not even close to reality. This is the story of Donald Trump's life. He's trying to make you believe in something that is not real. He's trying to make you believe something that is not true. Of course, everybody saw what happened on January 6th. And it was MAGA who carried out the violence that day. And Donald Trump just gave them carte blanche to go do whatever the hell they want as long as they were serving Donald Trump and they were serving MAGA. Absolutely disgusting. And I just cannot... It's just so appalling that a president of the United States would just so blatantly lie in the face of all of the evidence, in the face of all of the violence. This is one of the worst answers he gave. But this is Donald Trump, everybody. This is the moron in chief, Demented, holding a press conference from his plane as he flies over the Gulf of Mexico, all because he wanted to take some of the spotlight away from the Super Bowl that he would later attend. All this man cares about is optics. All he cares about is attention. So again, Donald Trump is a small man. He is a petulant man baby. He is a child. Yet he is the commander-in-chief of the United States of America, and it is becoming more and more embarrassing to be an American with this fool as our president. So I will leave it there for now. If you guys got anything out of this video, please do remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Maybe share with a friend or two. I'd very much appreciate that. We have to build something here on the left that can adequately push back against the right-wing media ecosystem that just is constantly shoveling shit for Donald Trump. So if you do appreciate the work I do, please do remember to subscribe. If you want to see how Elon's popularity is falling off a cliff as he becomes the face of the Trump administration, go ahead and watch that video on the screen now. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one.